Hello, world.
Okay.
I am exhausted. I have not recovered. It has only been 16
About-
hours. I am tired. Hooday!
Hey, what's up, stranger?
Hey,
How
everybody.
y'all doing, man? First time in franchise history, back-to-back years, won playoff games. How we doing? How we doing?
There, he did it.
We got Santori in the house. We got Bengal Dad. We got Cincy James. I mean, it's a great day, isn't it,
I'm
Bengal?
glad Greg's bringing the energy because I ain't got
Yes, he
shit.
is.
Big Savage Greg.
Yeah, I'm in we're in full savage mode now, everybody. I mean, come on. I mean, like, we sweep by that team in the city of Maryland. Now we're on to Buffalo next week, who
The
just
city of
almost
Maryland.
lost to a third-string quarterback. Hey, don't stand on the tracks when the train's coming through Buffalo. The Tigers are coming. The herd of Buffalo better get off the tracks right now.
The herd of Buffalo.
Well, hold on here. You said the city of Maryland, first off.
City in Maryland.
You said the city of Maryland. I was like,
Sorry about that.
And then Jamar Chase at the end of the game had his little Instagram live. He's like, "We got to go play the Buffaloes," and I was like,
Not really.
"I don't know if you're wrong or not."
I don't care what they are. Just stand off the tracks. The train's coming in Buffalo. Everybody get off the tracks when the train's coming through.
They got to play us.
They got to play us.
I just noticed the ticker. You got all of our social media down there.
Yep, I took care of it. We got it going.
We're going, Santori. Come
That way
on.
people know. Don't have to worry about it.
This is our inaugural playoff victory show
That's
for
right.
Rally Round the Natty. We haven't had one.
Sure, we have.
No,
No,
we
you guys-
haven't.
We
You
haven't.
said it in March.
Oh
we
yeah,
haven't
we
had
didn't
one
do
of
this
these.
last year.
Come on,
No, we
Santori.
didn't.
Get to the game, man. Come on, man. Let's keep it. Let's keep the
Tell
train
you guys,
running.
I'm not with it right now. I'm
Woo woo! Who day, Shelly? How you doing? How you doing? Woo woo! Santori, I'll do this all night, man, to get you going, man. Woo woo!
All right.
I gotta watch film after this. I'm not gonna make it. You guys are gonna see some terrible film analysis.
Real quick. We'll keep it short and sweet. We are sponsored by Betfred. I'll try to find it here real quick. Boom. Betfred. Sports gambling's legal in Ohio.
We gave them a whole 0.3 seconds of airtime.
So, yep. And use our code down below. Our link, betfredsports.com/Ohio/Bengals12. Get registered today. And we've also, let me switch it back. We've also got Brimminghorn Meadery. Here is just an example of the Brimminghorn Meadery bottle. Do you like honey? Do you like alcohol? Do you like them mixed? Because it's so good. That's basically what meat is. You're welcome, Santori. That's basically, in a very crude description, what meat is. So all you got to do, you got to use our code HOODAY9, and when you buy 2 bottles or more, you get 15% off. So basically, that's going to cover your shipping the way that works. It ships to so many states except Montana. Not really sure what Montana did, but guess what? You don't get anything. So order a couple bottles today. Do you like my Santori impression?
It's wonderful.
We're all filling in for you today, Santori. We're all filling in for you.
We
buddy.
got you, brother. We got
We
you.
got you, man. Let's do this.
That's
Come on.
right. So, all right. Where do we want to
In the
start?
background? What was that?
Hi, Kim.
Yeah, she just passed on by.
Where do we want to start? Because I know Bengal Dad had a few talking points. I know Santori had a couple talking points. Greg had some. Which one do we want to start with, or do we want to go straight to game balls, or should we save that?
Let's save that. Let's do some talking points. I don't even know what mine are anymore. Just tell me what we're talking about, and I'll fire off my
tomorrow. Who day?
my rockets.
Firing off your rockets?
That's where I'm at. I don't know.
Hey, real quick, I'm drinking a little celebratory Stag Junior for the playoff game. If Matt Bengals and Bourbon was watching, he would love this.
Yeah, crackers.
I got a Bud Light from last year. I'm not going to drink. I'm just holding it because it's out.
From last year.
I've still got my cigar from the Super Bowl that I cut and never got to light. It's sitting right in front of me.
I smoked one last night. That wasn't in the best shape, but I still smoked it.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah.
You want me to pull up the talking points you guys texted?
Sure.
Do this.
Let me get them here. This is great. Let's see. Should we? Nope. Should we message Glenn? That's a talking point right there.
Take care.
We did get that.
Okay, so Bengal Dad had one. Did we make our own luck, or was it good play? Which was it? Good fortune, good play.
This has been a multiple year debate.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. And the people always say I'd rather be lucky than good. I don't want to say the Bengals are always lucky. There does seem to be a little bit of lady luck that accompanies some of the good plays. I mean, last night, let's face it, I don't know what Hubbard was doing on the other side of the ball. I mean, he kind of penetrated the line that he took himself out of the play. And much like Franco Harris and the immaculate reception, here's the ball. And now I'm going to run with it. Fantastic play by Logan Wilson. Fantastic play. I understand Jermaine Pratt had a big part in that. I was listening to Zach Taylor. He was definitely giving some props to like 3 or 4 players that didn't really get the props. But I don't know. I mean, you have to make your own luck. But the Bengals have been coming up with plays late in these games. I mean, you look at New England where they forced the guy to fumble and they punched the ball out at the 7 or 8 yard line. You can say good teams do that, but we punch at the ball all the time. We just happen to get that ball out in New England. I don't know. I feel like at this point, honestly, and I'm not trying to rain on the parade, I feel like we're playing with house money. That wasn't our game yesterday. We got outplayed. We were definitely outplayed, in my opinion. And sometimes I like having the luck because we've had years and years where the ball didn't bounce our way.
Absolutely.
And the ball is beginning to bounce our way over the last couple of years, and I'll take it. But I don't want to just not recognize that it's happening.
So I am kind of on the school of thought with Ken, where hard work creates luck. And I've had this conversation several times over the last few years. I don't necessarily believe in luck in sports. There are things that happen that are kind of out of your control. And to me, it's impeccably finite when I'm coming up with those examples. Like if you have a perfect kick and then the 40-mile-an-hour wind gust smacks it wide right, that's bad luck to me. But then there's also the adverse argument of that, playing devil's advocate, that, well, if you'd have executed, you wouldn't be kicking the field goal kind of thing. So you put yourself in situations to where, is luck going to help or hurt you? When you have the play that we're all talking about where Hubbard returned the ball 98 yards, they put 2 guys in the A-gap. They had Jermaine Pratt over the center who kind of stood up the line. You had 2 guys penetrating the gap. There's nowhere to go left. There's nowhere to go right. It forces Huntley to try and go over the top. Pratt keeps the center down and is able to get on top of him to give Logan Wilson the clean vault. What tells me that was designed, 1, beyond the fact that they were lined up, but 2, the fact that they seemingly knew that they were going to go over the top on that. There was something on film, or else they wouldn't have lined up that way. So, once the ball's hit in the air with the way it's oblong shaped and there's just a mass of bodies everywhere, for it to fall directly in Sam Hubbard's lap is a little lucky. The same time they executed to get to that point.
Right. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Look at this comment from Haas. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We did it against the Patriots. The ball went the other way. There's luck involved. You have to admit there is luck involved.
There's a little.
But I'm just glad it's bouncing our way right now.
Sure. Because
I don't want to be a foolish fan and act like we're the greatest team of all time because the ball's bouncing our way. That ball could have bounced. It could bounce the other way next week.
I don't necessarily.
You got to accept it and admit it.
There's a little bit of luck that goes into it for sure. Once the ball, we talked about this earlier. Once the ball was knocked out of Huntley's hands, the 1 second from where's the ball going to go? Because if Huntley's hand rotates this way, it goes that way. If his hands, you don't really have control at that point. Then it's kind of up to the football gods, so to say. But they put themselves in a position to force the turnover as well. And you put yourself in that position because Jesse Bates hauled ass to make sure it wasn't a touchdown 3 plays previous. So there's some luck, but there's a lot of something to be said for hard work and putting yourself in the right position.
I don't disagree with that, but that was the Bengals version of the Immaculate Reception.
Sure, I'll agree.
That's what that was.
I think it was the best.
Franco Harris was doing nothing on that play, and the ball goes flying to Franco Harris.
Well, no, they said that Franco Harris play should have been a penalty. I forget what it was, but they said technically that should have been a penalty on that.
Yeah, so
because you can't have 2 offensive players touch the ball back to back.
Right. But no, I think that was probably the best defensive play in the history of the franchise. Considering what was going on, the luck factor to it. I don't think there was a bigger play. Maybe last year you'd have been able to say Pratt's pick because it sealed the curse off.
Well, no, the one I think that was even bigger than that was the interception on Tannehill last year. They were driving for the game-winning field goal with like 25 seconds to go in the game.
I mean, if you throw that one out, then you throw the one on Mahomes.
Yep, Jesse Bates. Yep.
I think.
I just think the game was in the balance on that Tennessee game.
The game was in the balance on that one too. We weren't going to score again.
Well, yeah, but there were still 11 minutes of football left.
Sure.
Imagine how cool that play would have been if there were 30 seconds left on the clock when that happened.
Oh my God!
In a tie game, just imagine that.
That stadium erupted to the ground.
Yeah, it did.
But no. But so Bengal Dad, to quote Dwight Schrute from The Office, when the episode of Chris Farley when Jim tries to trade Yankee swap him for a little Irish pin, like a little shamrock thing, he's like, "It brings you good luck," and Dwight flat out says, "A real man creates his own luck." So I understand luck can happen only so much. When people say, "Oh, the Bengals got lucky," was it lucky that we won our last 8 games? I mean, come on.
Nine.
I know luck.
9.
Yeah, everybody says it's 9 games.
Well, there you go. Thanks for helping me out right here. But like I say, luck does happen. But I mean, you could argue we got lucky. Chase got a touchdown. We got lucky. Burrow had a QB sneak in for a touchdown. I mean, like there are unfortunate plays that do happen. That's part of the game. But luck only goes so far. I'm sorry. Luck can only take you.
Greg, I'm glad you said luck only goes so far because that's the thing that ends my argument for this being luck. If it keeps happening over and over and we're on 2 to 3 years of this luck.
Yes.
I mean, the thing Dad and I we used to make fun of this relentlessly. We used to call them Ed Reed interceptions. Mm-hmm. Half of that's being in the right spot. It is. If Ed Reed doesn't do his job and isn't shadowing in the right places, those balls never get deflected his way.
Right.
I mean, it's good teams create opportunities.
Well,
don't get me wrong. I feel like I'm always misunderstood here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think the Bengals are a lucky team, but they do get luck. I mean, no different than Brandon Stokely.
Yeah, so other teams get
that was
lucky.
A lucky play.
Look at the Patriots with Malcolm Butler getting the game-winning interception. Everybody could say that was luck against the Seahawks. It happens to everybody.
I don't know if that was lucky. That was really good. To me, that was really good defense. What would have been lucky if it would have bounced off of what was the defensive guy's name?
Malcolm Butler.
If it would have bounced off Malcolm Butler's face mask and it triggered 20 feet across the field and then it was picked off by a Patriot.
No,
there's that luck factor. Making a play isn't lucky. Having it as a result of a deflection.
Let's take this conversation in another direction. Well, no, I think that I don't know if this is going to help or hurt your argument. Who knows? Let's just see where this goes. How about the bad luck where you get a freaking snap to go 15 yards over the quarterback's head and he ends up with a 20-yard completion? That's some shitty ass luck.
Yeah, I was going to say. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ravens had it. Bengal Dad. The Ravens had it, or like when he was about to get sacked and he barely gets it to J.K. Dobbins, who runs it like 30 yards. I mean, that's luck right there too, man. You can't just point on the Bengals. The Ravens had it too. Oh, here we go.
I see those as a guy that got in the middle of a mess, kind of like Burrow does at times, and still makes a play out of it. It would have been lucky if that guy would have thrown it to Dobbins. Dobbins would have tipped it up in the air. It would have then landed into a Bengals hands, who then fumbled it back to Dobbins, and then he runs 30 yards. Then there's luck involved. But if you're making a play, it wasn't lucky, the play that Logan Wilson made. All I'm saying is, thank God it shot over the top and went to Hubbard. That's all I'm saying. It could have went to 21 other players. That's all I'm saying. Here. So, accept the luck when it comes.
Tom Brooks is calling you a Debbie Downer again, and it's all right.
Whatever.
It's realism. But
I am a realist. If I'm a downer, then screw it. I'm realistic. I am.
Y'all want some Debbie Downer? I got it for you because I
want to back up real quick. I haven't been able to talk.
No, you're not allowed.
No.
I'm expecting you to do that to me any second.
James, stop it.
Let's back up.
Hey, let the man speak. Let James speak.
Let's put it this way. This is kind of piggybacking on Santori's point, where 2 to 3 years of luck. It seems like they're practicing this stuff a lot. And so if you're practicing this stuff and then it starts happening during the game, that doesn't really sound like luck. That sounds like what you practice to do.
Yes and no. Every team practices trying to get turnovers. Like Jermaine Pratt is he's the kind of the driving thing behind this. We always kind of go back to him because he seems to be in the middle of a lot of it.
Yeah.
A lot of it is, there it is again, constantly going for the strip. And I got into an argument with my buddy today too. He's like, yeah, we're getting a lot of turnovers. We're getting gashed on yards. I was like, well, that's how a turnover defense works. Think back to 2005.
Oh, God.
We had a metric fuck ton of interceptions. But you would get shredded sometimes. You kind of – it's like Diggs, the Cowboys corner. You kind of have to play for him. You're going to give up yards. As my buddy was like, oh, I don't want the yard. I don't want to give up yards. I still want the turnovers. I'm like, the closer you play for suffocating defense, the tighter people are going to be and a little bit more careful with the ball. If you give people open lanes, they're more willing to take a chance. So there's a way to create turnovers, and unfortunately, you do kind of have to play loose with the yardage in between the 20s. The reason they create so much is because they give people the illusion that they don't have to be as secure. And then once they let their guard down, here comes the punch, here comes the rip. Tyler Huntley, for whatever reason, thought it was okay from the 2-yard line to hold the ball out over 22 people.
He saw Trevor Lawrence do it the night before.
Yeah. The illusion was there that the running lane was going to be there, and he thought, I'm going to break this.
But Santori, before you came on, we were talking
about a little bit of bait and switch. It really is.
Santori, before you came on, we were talking about J.K. Dobbins. He was ticked off at the coaches, and as he should be. He was killing us all game. Why wasn't he getting used in the red zone? He even said, I should be the guy. Why didn't they use him in the red zone, do you think?
One of two reasons. One, John Harbaugh is an idiot.
Yeah.
Two, if that's the attitude that he has after one game that we're just now seeing for the first time, what's his attitude like in the locker room through the course of the year when things aren't going his way? He's obviously not a cool, calm, and collected guy.
Yeah, and he doesn't even play a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if that's his attitude right now, I mean, what kind of an entitled running back do you have to be year 2 after being hurt for your entire career for you to believe that you're the guy? There's got to be stuff going on inside the locker room that he doesn't get that opportunity. And quite frankly, Gus Edwards, every single time he touches the ball against every team every year, has been pretty damn consistent.
Yep.
Gus Edwards is one of my sleeper backs that, not for fantasy, but just for a consistent guy that if he ever hit the market, I'd pick up in a heartbeat. He's a hard-nosed back. I'm going to give him the ball. Dobbins has not earned that right in the NFL to be the guy yet.
He had a rookie year. Before he was out last year, he had a pretty good rookie year. I mean, okay. I'm not trying to back up. I agree with what you're saying, but he didn't have a really good rookie year, though.
I don't care. It's last year. What's he done this year?
Okay. No, I agree with what you're saying, though, totally. Like you say, that type of attitude already, yeah.
If that's what he's doing now, what's he done the last year and a half that we don't see?
Right.
Because for everything that leaks out, there's a billion things you don't hear. There's a million things you don't see. I mean, there just are. But no, to get back to Tom calling Dad a Debbie Downer, I got some stuff for you if you want a Debbie Downer. I got a couple questions I want you guys to answer for me. This goes back to the narrative of whether the Bengals got outplayed or not. I am of the belief that they got way outplayed. And people don't like hearing that, but I think it's true. And I'm just going to kind of go down the list here. Who pass blocked better?
Ravens.
Okay. Who ran block better?
Ravens.
Who ran the ball better?
Ravens.
Which receivers dropped less passes?
Ravens.
Which kicker didn't miss a PAT?
Ravens.
Okay. Which run defense looked better?
I agree with you on that. They outplayed us statistically most of the time. I agree with you on that.
Which run defense looked better?
We know the answer to that one.
Which pass defense looked better? Okay. So special teams, offense, defense, the trenches, everything favored the Ravens, but we played better? No. Just look at it on paper. Go unit by unit. The only thing we did better is Joe Burrow hit a lot of intermediate throws.
Yep.
Outside of that, we didn't pass block well. We didn't run block well. Our receivers dropped 6 passes. We forced a couple turnovers, which is the turning point of the game. And if it wasn't for the greatest defensive moment in the history of our franchise, we probably would have lost.
There was probably a little bit of luck involved, but I won't say that again.
Hey, sometimes it's like golf.
That was one of those games where it's better to be lucky than good.
That's not
Really?
what I'm talking about. Sort of. On the scorecard, it never says how. It just says how many. On the scorecard, it was 1-0. Win,
Sure.
loss. That's the way I'm choosing to look at it. I know what you're saying is accurate.
This is where I get conflicted.
This is where we severely got outplayed. We did. I get that, but I'm looking at, guess what? We're still in the playoffs and they're not, and now we got a chance to keep going to the Super Bowl.
And sure, I have 2 coaching mantras that I live by, though, and they conflict themselves right now. Okay? 3. And I believe in going 1-0 every week. Okay? I don't look at 10, 15 weeks ahead. That's how you start getting in trouble. Okay?
Absolutely. One game at a time. Yep.
So I believe in one game at a time. Check. That worked. Just win. I believe in just win. That's another one, right? These are the 2 that conflict themselves. You are what your record says you are. 1-0 in the playoffs. Your record doesn't lie, but the score can. Okay. Well, it says I'm 1-0 in the playoffs, just win everything, but the score lied on that one.
Your record can lie also.
It's not
lying with the Bengals.
Your record doesn't lie. Your record doesn't lie as much as the score can, though.
Okay.
I think what you're talking about, though, is more of a regular season thing. Because in the playoffs,
it also depends on the volume of work.
In the playoffs, it doesn't matter how you win.
No, it doesn't.
Survive and advance. That's the motto, right?
I mean, if we really wanted to nitpick and look at all of Brady's Super Bowls, I've always seen the meme where it's like, okay, well, Vinatieri got him 1, and Tuck Rule got him 1, and it's like, well, it doesn't really matter. He still won them.
Right.
I truly do believe they got outplayed.
Opportunistic.
At the other time, I'm not quite sure it matters.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I'm going to look back and go, yeah, we won. The argument is you win, they lost. What are you going to say? And quite frankly, and we can use this as a talking point, I don't think Lamar Jackson would have played any better than Huntley did, because I thought Huntley played his ass off.
Yeah, he played well. He played really well.
But you know what? I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I respect him because of this. He hates the Bengals. He said last year they're lucky. He still hates the Bengals. I respect him in some. At least he's honest and all that and stuff. But he even said himself, "He's like, Greg, I gotta admit to you, I thought last year was a fluke." He told me the Bengals are a good team. And this is a guy that hates the Bengals with a passion. He still hates the Bengals, but he straight up said, "Greg, they're a Super Bowl contending team." And believe me, that was painful for him to say and all that. So, I mean, sure, there was luck involved yesterday, but yeah, that's exactly what he said to me. Greg, this team is for real.
I'm glad you put that up there. because there's a lot of people now that the confidence is shaken because they were expecting us to like blow the doors off the Ravens.
Right.
And, I was cocky all week. I thought we were going to win. I didn't think it would be that tight, but I thought for sure we would win.
Yeah.
No.
Here's the deal. That was the toughest defense you're going to play, with the exception of whoever you might run into in the Super Bowl if you get that far. You're not going to face a better pass rush in the AFC.
Right.
You're not. Marlon Humphrey is one of the best corners in football.
Yeah.
Kyle Hamilton is one of the best safeties up and coming in football. You're not going to face a better secondary, possibly. You're not going to face a better pass rush. You're not going to face a better run defense unit. You're not going to face a better run game, especially in the AFC side. With all that being said, that matchup on paper was a nightmare for the Bengals, and now you take Jonah Williams out of the equation halfway through the game.
Mm-hmm.
3 of 5 offensive linemen, starters, are hurt. You're left with a rookie and 3 backups out there, against a team that is going to pressure the hell out of you, against a team that's going to cover well, against a team that's going to be physical and punch you in the mouth. Looking next week at Buffalo, let's just go down the list again. Who is the better pass rush, Buffalo or Baltimore?
Baltimore.
Who is the better run defense?
Baltimore.
Who's got the better secondary when healthy?
Baltimore.
Okay. Who's got the better offensive line? It's Baltimore, because Josh Allen just got sacked 7 times last week.
Yes, he did.
Who's got the better run game, Buffalo or Baltimore?
Oh, Baltimore.
These teams are polar opposites, and on paper, it's a significantly better matchup next week.
Yeah.
I can be a Debbie Downer about this game, but here's the other thing. It's a division game. Those aren't easy.
Yes.
It's a playoff game. Those aren't easy. You played the same team back-to-back weeks. That's never easy. You've played them 3 times this year. There was nothing on paper that said you were going to kick that team's ass, especially knowing just the personnel matchups. Should you have won? 100%. Should you have won a little bit better than you did? Sure. Is it an AFC North division game? Yes, and those are never easy. I don't care if it's Cleveland. I don't care if it's Pittsburgh. I don't care if it's Baltimore. I don't care if it's the Houston Oilers. Bring them back. It's still going to be ugly.
Santori, you pointed that all out on Twitter, and like you said, Baltimore, how many teams use a fullback in the NFL do you know of besides Baltimore?
Maybe San Francisco?
San Fran.
San Fran and tight end.
Occasionally Green Bay. That's it.
Like Santori. Like the spread was, I think, remember we all were picking, the spread was 8.5 points. I'm like, look, everybody acted like, oh, we're going to win by 21 points. I'm like, no, we're not. I mean, this is still, we almost lost to them with their third string guy and all that. I said I think the Bengals will win, but it's not going to go by more than 8.5 points. I definitely did not think that at all. I mean, the score is exactly what I thought it would literally be like. Not the exact score, but something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's that game is as confident as we are in this team, which is good.
Yeah.
Baltimore's not a bad team. They did make the playoffs, and they had the division fully in control until their quarterback decided he didn't want to play anymore. He's not. I don't believe he's hurt. I don't.
Didn't he say pretty much on Instagram he's not playing for the Ravens? I mean, I knew he didn't say it, but didn't he like?
I don't really care what he says. I care what his teammates say, and he's got multiple teammates running to reporters saying he should have been playing.
Okay, yeah.
There's a talking point. Let's bitch about Baltimore for a minute because we can now. And there's nothing they can do.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad, up there. If this is your quarterback screwing over your team's chance for a Super Bowl to prove a petty point about a contract because he doesn't have an agent, is this a guy you really want to serve long term?
He will never wear the uniform again.
I think I agree.
He chose to quit on his team because of his personal contract. He was going to get his money either way.
Yeah.
But he proved that money was more important than his team. I would never, on a bet, have that guy on my team anymore.
And it's
addition by subtraction. This will be healthy for the Baltimore Ravens to lose him.
It's another reason why watching that interview with Joe Burrow this past week, I really think he's going to take a friendlier contract than people think he's going to, because he wants, not only does he want Zach Taylor here and for his entire career, and he wants to be here his entire career, and he loves the front office. He said he wants his guys here too.
Yes.
And where are his guys? They're already here.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's going to do what he can to make sure that they're here.
I think he just witnessed firsthand what happens when greed goes over team.
Yeah. right in your backyard.
I mean, well, let's face it. I know Huntley played a really, really good game.
Mm-hmm.
But if Huntley played a good game versus Lamar Jackson playing a really good game, we might really be in trouble here.
We might have got destroyed yesterday.
But again,
what it is.
I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer, but here I'm going to be an upper. Who's an upper? Is it the Uncle Upper? What's the opposite of a Debbie Downer?
Kay Adams.
Let's say, what are they thinking right now in Buffalo? Buffalo had a similar situation where they played a totally undermanned team at home that they think they probably should have blown the doors off of.
Yep.
And Miami took them all the way to the end. I mean, and then the only thing they can call back on to recall for experience is 9 minutes in Cincinnati where they were getting their asses handed to them. I don't think Ulysses upper. Okay. I don't think they can be feeling all that frisky about this game coming up. I think they probably are more worried about this game than the Bengals are.
Now, here's the deal. I'm not into conspiracy theories. I don't think the league is scripted. I don't think the league is fixed. I do think there are times where the league would prefer a certain team to win, and that's as far as they'll take that. But the one thing I do believe in is Vegas knows much more about these teams than I do. It's a 4-point spread right now, which means that is anybody's game.
Which is a 1-point spread, really.
Yeah, because Buffalo gets 3 for being at home.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pick'em game.
With the shape of this ball, how could you script it?
Yep.
It's not going to bounce the right way every time.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
I honestly think the biggest thing that Buffalo has going for them is what's going to happen when they show DeMar Hamlin on the scoreboard in a luxury box before that game or when he walks out on the field.
They are
and I don't know how far that can carry you, but that's going to be the biggest emotional thing they've got going for them.
Yeah, I read that one.
It was my first thought too. When McPherson missed it, I was like, "Dad's losing his shit over
Yep.
there."
I thought the same thing.
All I did, I rolled my eyes, I looked at Kim, and I said, "Here we go again."
Well, it was funny. So before that, if you remember, we were lining up for about a 39-yard kick or a 40-yard, whatever it was on that first drive. And I looked at Ashley, and she's like, "Okay, let's go, Evan." And I was like, "This is where he struggles." And she's like, "What?" And I was like, "Under 45 is where he has some issues." And he made it. And I went, whew. And then they kicked they scored the touchdown. And then I'm tweeting something like, "Okay, good drive, look good, whatever." And then I look up, and out of the corner of my eye, I see, and I was like, "God damn it, again?" And I looked at her, I said, "It's the same distance."
So
I don't know why he can't. And they're mainly PATs.
Let me throw something out there for you. So in his 2-year career, each year he's missed 5 field goals.
Yes.
And in his 2-year career, he has missed 6 extra points, 4 this year and 2 last year. Do those 2 extra points make you think significantly worse about Evan McPherson?
It's the 2 extra points along with the fact that his misses are from close range.
And that's not me asking and saying that I think you're wrong. That's just me asking the question because I think
here's the other thing.
Can you read those stats back again?
Here, I'll put it up. So, or here, let me present. Share.
Come on, engineer.
I got you. Right here are his stats. So,
yeah, I mean, you just look at 2022 versus career.
Yeah. So you've got this year he's missed 5 field goals. He's missed 10 total, so that makes last year he missed 5. And he's missed 4 this year. He's missed 6 total extra points, so that means last year he missed 2.
Okay, I'm not quite following that. So how many more extra points did he miss this year? 4?
He missed 4 total this year, and he missed 2 the year before.
Now, keep in mind, one of the extra points he missed was also the snafu with Pittsburgh.
Correct.
2 of them.
Yeah, that was 2 in that game, wasn't it?
One was a field goal.
One was a field goal.
It was a field goal.
And I think he also missed one of the extra points in the windstorm against New England.
And how many field goals how many more field goals did he miss this year versus last? Was it the same?
Break even.
Okay.
The percentage is less because he's kicked less field goals.
Correct.
The issue is perception. Last year, he made a bunch of big kicks toward the end because he had these same issues in the middle of the season last year. We had a little because we used to always say, man, thank God he's pretty accurate because his kicks always seem to tail toward the left at the end. This year, for whatever reason, his kicks are tailing up and to the right. It's the mechanics are the same. That's the good thing. It's not a yip. It's something in the process of the actual mechanics. The issue is you had such high levels of confidence and everything in the offseason, all the money, Max, Shooter, McPherson, the T-shirts. So now every time you expect him to make it and he misses one, it seems 10 times worse. But his issues now, because the misses he had last year, I bet if you would break it down by distance, he missed more from further out last year as opposed to this year. This year, a lot of his kicks are short range when he misses.
I'm not 100% sure about that.
I would
let me see if while you guys keep talking, I'll get it here.
But I do think it's a perception thing. It's also okay. Where are we at?
So 21's the top. So
see, he's 5 of 5 this year from 50 plus.
Yes.
He's 9 of 13, 40 to 49 this year. And he was 6 of 9 last year. He missed
essentially the same, pretty close to the same percentage. Pretty close.
What's 9 of 13 and 6 of 9? Is it still 67%?
It's close. 9 of 13 is going to be closer to 75.
It's a perception thing.
Because 9 of 12 is 75.
My thing is the PATs. I can live with the field goals periodically. The other thing is it's just a higher volume of misses from 40 to 49. Because if you look at his field goals his rookie year, he was 8 for 8, 30 to 39, and he only kicked 9, 40 to 49.
Yeah, and he kicked 11 from 50 plus.
Right. So if you miss 2 from 50 plus, no one's really going to bitch about it, right? You miss 3 over the course of the year from short range, it bothers you. If you miss 4 from mid-range, it bothers you a little bit. It's those middle ones that kill me. Those ones, because those should be automatic for him. But for whatever reason, automatic 14 of 16 is 50 plus. He struggles in those mid-range.
I think the other thing is, if we went game by game and we looked at last year, he got on a serious roll.
Oh yeah,
of making every kick. Whether it's a field goal or an extra point, I know there's a point value difference to the team, but it's still executing a kick and kicking the ball through the uprights. I don't have as much confidence as I had last year. And if you polled everybody in Cincinnati, I don't know which way it would go, but I'd venture to say there's a little less confidence this year than it was last year. That's all I'm saying. And there's probably other players on the team that people have more confidence this year than last year about certain things that they do that's their job.
I am wary from – see, he was – remember he was 20 of 20 in the playoffs last year.
Yeah,
he ends this year.
Yep. And I know a lot of it's a perception, just like me with P. Ryan versus Mixon. I guarantee there's more people in this city that feel stronger about P. Ryan now than they did a year ago now. Yeah. A year ago at the same time. It's not the same thing.
Not lately.
Well,
he's not doing anything.
Over the course of this season, it was a lot higher than at any point during the course of last season.
Yeah.
Right, because he had 2 or 3 good games out of 17.
Still more than he had the previous year.
Right, but
so I got a question to ask you. Can you guys agree with this? The pass rushing last year was dominant. I mean, losing Larry Ogunjobi, that really did hurt us because he was a great pass rusher in the middle. But can you guys agree with this, that our pass rushing definitely has not been as good as this year as it was last year? I mean, I'll say that, but
the Bengals have one of the worst pass rushing units in football.
What's that?
The Bengals have like one of the worst. It's somewhere in the bottom 5 pass rushing units in the NFL.
I believe that, but we make up for it with great schemes. But yeah, like I said, doesn't mean I'm going to lose confidence in us. But our pass rushing definitely definitely needs improving. Right? There's too many times where that quarterback is way too comfortable in the backfield.
How many almosts do we have in the backfield? Like, we're like, oh, dang it.
Yeah.
There's so many.
Yeah.
It's Michael Johnson.
Oh my God.
Oh, wait. Hey. Crip's got another gem. The Chris Collinsworth curse. Get out of here.
What's the Collinsworth curse? I've missed that one.
The
Yeah,
Sunday
what-
Night Football. Because they've been horrid on Sunday Night Football.
Hendrickson has a broken arm, right? Unless that's new news or we're just talking about his wrist issue that he's had. Hendrickson's played fine with the broken wrist. I'm not talking about him. His sack numbers are down. His pressure rate's up just about the same. I'm talking about interior pressure,
Yeah.
and it's not there.
So
DJ Reader is not a pass rusher. He does well occasionally, but that's not his game.
Well, and that's what Greg is talking about with Ogunjobi.
Right.
He was up the middle.
Ogunjobi, because he was a little bit of a force on pass rushing downs,
plus.
you could not double BJ Hill. And BJ Hill's had a hard time this year because he hasn't had that person to help loosen things up.
But
Which that contract is looking really, really expensive right now for BJ Hill at $10 million a year. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Santori, Zach Carter showed up a little bit yesterday. I know the old draft saying, like Tom said, wait 2 years and I'll tell you. Do you have your confidence Zach Carter could get better?
I mean, yeah, it's only been like 3 months of his career.
Right.
I mean, he
You know what BJ Hill
can
got?
turn into a Hall of Famer 10 years from now. I have no idea.
BJ Hill got a sack yesterday.
He did.
Yeah. Something interesting about looking at the stat sheet. We're not really doing Cincy James stats, but Trey Hendrickson's name in the main stats doesn't show up at all.
He was quiet.
Yes,
Yep.
he was. You could see he was close. Like, because what I'm looking at doesn't have the pressures, but you could see he was getting close, but he just wasn't. There just wasn't production there. It was more the other guys.
What do you want to do? Game balls?
Let's do this.
Don't start with me. You always start with me.
Okay.
Greg.
I mean, all right.
The other guy who loves being put on the spot.
Right?
I mean, game balls. Here's the thing, Sam Hubbard. I do want to say, but I got to go Jermaine Pratt because when you show it perfectly, like Blake Jewell tweeted out, he set it up where he had him up here like this, and for Logan Wilson to tip it and Sam Hubbard to get it. So I'm going to say Jermaine Pratt gets the game ball.
All right. Which way do you want to go? Want us to go, Bengal Dad?
You can go.
Okay. Oh goodness. I'm gonna go Jesse Bates. Jesse Bates. I think Santori hit it right on the head there. Running down Tyler Huntley to knock him out at the 3-yard line was a big play, or 2-yard line. Sorry, that was a big play. And then, like you said, 3 plays later, that's when the fumble happens and we run it back 98 yards and Sam Hubbard needs the oxygen on the sideline. But I got to say, I think Jesse Bates is he's earning some money the last 7-8 weeks, kind of like he did last year. He's earning some money.
More parallels from last year. Bates is starting to heat up.
It's wild.
I need my kicker to heat up.
Yeah.
Speaking of that Hubbard run, I saw people putting different names for it on there. I had one called the Hubbard Hustle, is what I called it.
I saw one. I think it was in the comments here. It was like the rumble, fumble in the jungle, and I was like,
I like it.
something along those lines. I thought that was funny.
All right, Bengal Dad, your turn.
Well, mine's going to be pretty obvious. It's Logan Wilson. I mean, and everybody gets credit for that play, but
Dude's a stud.
he was actually at the pinnacle of the turning point.
Yeah. Another game with double-digit tackles for Logan Wilson.
Yep, that's another thing. Yeah.
Chalk him up.
Oh, I'll say one other. I'm going to give a second game ball. I always do this.
I was gonna say I got two too.
Just one more play. The play before that, when Von Bell filled it, because I think the play before that was when the quarterback decided to run the ball himself, and it looked like he had a free lane to the end zone, and he filled it really quickly and stoned him at like the 1.5 yard line.
Yeah.
I think that's a one-on-one tackle with a pretty athletic quarterback. I mean, that's kind of like the Jesse Bates rundown. So that's like the assist before the big play.
Right. I got you.
I have two odd ones. One's genuine and the other's highly sarcastic.
Hashtag.
The first one, I'm going to give one to Zach Taylor. And this is one of those things that I think a lot of people would have at the moment got way too out of whack and tried something stupid. I don't remember the exact play, but I remember it was with 2:05 left to go in the game. And the call was wrong, whatever it was. And it was ticking down to the 2-minute warning, and everybody on the planet was screaming for Zach to throw the flag. Zach not only didn't throw the flag, he waited until the 2-minute warning because he knew it would be automatically reviewed and saved himself from a timeout in case that shit didn't go his way.
Right.
That's keeping your head about you and understanding game management, clock management, and how the officiating works. He could have thrown – he sat there, and I watched him because the tackle was made at 2:05. Everybody's screaming, throw the flag, throw the flag, throw the flag. And I'm like, this guy's going to wait 4 seconds and say, look at it, please. Because it's 2-minute warning, and I can't challenge at that point.
That must have been when they initially gave him the first down, but he was about a half a yard short.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they pulled it right back. It was an easy one. There was no reason to throw the flag. It was going to be looked at in the next 4 seconds. There's no reason to waste a timeout and screw something over.
Right.
It's one of those things of composure and understanding the situation. I don't think a lot of people get, he's come a long way in 3 years. We've had some horrible challenges. Now, granted, that's not necessarily his fault. But the composure and the in-game awareness to understand that if I can literally just wait 3 seconds, they're going to look at it anyway. So that one. The other one, I'm going to give to John Harbaugh for being terrible at game management and burning about almost all of his time on that final drive and forcing his team into have-it situations almost every play for the final 30 seconds. They burnt 35 seconds off the clock. And I understand trying to kill your own clock, but you screwed yourself. You left zero room for error. Buddy, thank you.
What was he
screwed up?
Santori, before he came out, we were all talking. What was he thinking? Because I realized, oh my God, there's like only like 20-something seconds. There's 15 seconds. What was he doing? And
what he was doing is a practice called killing your own clock, making it to where I'm going to be the last one to touch the ball in this game.
Right.
If I score, I can either tie it, go for 2, whatever. I'm making sure Joe Burrow doesn't touch this ball again. Fine, perfect, awesome, great game plan. The issue is you're a running team, and you need as much time as you can get, buddy. You pigeonholed yourself into using your quarterback with shoulder tendonitis and a busted-ass wrist into throwing a Hail Mary.
And they were 35 or 40 yards away.
Dumb coach. And guess what? Millions of people saw it. Thank you, John. You gift wrapped us the final drive.
Yep.
Game ball.
Yep. I did have another one. Just maybe not the most heralded player, but Drew Chrisman averaged over 50 yards a punt yesterday.
He did.
The issue with Drew isn't distance anymore; it's hang time.
Yeah,
because
they're little.
He's kicking lasers.
Yeah,
he just need a little high Drew.
But that's okay because he's really good. He's being a good directional punter.
Yes,
I'll take the laser.
You don't see any punters doing that. He's like took one out of the page of 20 years ago when they used to always go for the coffin corner and all that stuff. He's kicking that way. I don't see any other kickers do that.
He had a couple inside the 20, and then I think one of them we were backed up decently far.
If you're going to kick low line drives, it needs to be to the sideline for one of two reasons. One, if you make a guy catch it by the sideline, he can run straight or the other way. Like you take away that third level of maneuvering. It's no longer a 3-way go, it's a 2-way go. The other reason is if you're not going to get hang time and you're kicking a line drive, that effectively, instead of the center fielder camping under a can of corn, he has to make a running catch in the gap. and any bit of momentum coming forward to get that T-step to really get behind the ball to go is gone. So it makes it really, really hard to return.
We got a Pat McAnally.
Wow!
I wonder if Chrisman can play tight end.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of
disappeared again.
people playing different positions, did you see the block that Logan Wilson put on Tyler Linderbaum? And he threw him.
No, you guys.
He went full Hines Ward, Keith Rivers on that man. He folded him like a lawn chair.
But let me ask you this, Santori. Was that a legal block in the back? The guy, I forget who it was on, but with Mark Andrews when Sam Hubbard scored, should that been called for legal block in the back?
100%.
Yes.
They got away with one.
That was a block in the back.
Yeah.
He went like this.
He's like, "What'd I do?"
They asked Dean Blandino about that today. He said, "Hey, you got a little bit of the back, you got a little of the shoulder. We really don't like calling it when it's kind of in between." And I'm like, dude, you commit and say they fucked up. That's all it is, man.
Yeah.
If you do a stop motion, there is a hand, left hand, clearly on the 9 of Mark Andrews, right below his nameplate, and Mark Andrews' face hits the ground before anything else. I know the contact started here, and there's a rule if it starts here and goes to whatever. It was not necessary. He didn't need to do that.
Santori, was that good acting by? No, the second one should have been a penalty, but was that good acting by Drew Chrisman the first time they got penalized?
I mean, he got hit first off. He did. I think he carried it out a little bit, and that's another one of those things where you look at how the rule's written. You know, if you hit them in the plant leg, it's roughing. If you don't give them a spot to land with the secondary leg, it's running into. And he barely got touched on the first one, but he got touched in the, sounds weird, the right body part, so it counts as 15 yards. It's kind of like the old face mask penalty where it's like, well, if you grab it, it's 5, but if you rip it, it's 15. It's like, well, how subjective are we going to get about this?
Right.
But that second one, he got destroyed. And that's like Dad and I talk about. I try not to complain about officiating because for everything that my bias picks up, there's a ton of things my bias doesn't see. And when Chrisman got hit, I was actually sitting next to a Ravens fan the first time, and I was like, "Oh, that's a first down. We only needed 3 yards. That's 5 running into the kicker or whatever." And they said roughing, and I went, "Ooh, I didn't think that was roughing. That might be a little too much." And I looked at Ashley, and I was like, "I think we got away with one. You might have got a gift there." And then the next punt, he got destroyed, and we got nothing. I said, "And there's the balance." Like so, whenever you say, "Oh, they're getting all the calls," you're getting some too.
Yeah. Well, James, you and I were talking about that. You made a good statement. It's like, look, every call should be fair. There should never be a payback for messing one other call up. That's not like you said. I have no respect for the refs.
It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what time of the game it is. It doesn't matter where on the field you are. Everything should be called the same all the time.
Yes.
There should be nothing that changes. Because if it's a foul at the first minute against Tom Brady, it should be a foul in the last minute against Brock Purdy.
Yep.
All I heard you say was Tom Brady's name twice.
Goat. That's good. Speaking of getting away with stuff, I don't know if it was the same player both times, but I saw 2 separate clips today. Joe Mixon getting the business. He got punched one time while he was on the ground.
That got penalized.
And then
they called it taunting, but they threw a flag on it.
Yes. Okay. Right. So, and then his leg got pulled.
Yeah, I didn't like that one.
Was pulling down on it. And man, Mixon took exception to both, as he should have. And,
well, if I get punched because it wasn't the abs that he got punched.
Nope.
No.
It was I don't know if he can have kids. We'll put it that way. he got knocked in the twig and 2 cherries. The second one though, he's like getting freaking bent over like a Cirque du Soleil, and they're like bending his legs the other way. He looked like an exorcist contortionist out there. And the refs are just like, "Yep, that's all right." I'm like, guys, really? Yeah. But then at the same time, so we talk about this with the officiating bias, right? Mm-hmm. We did get the penalty on the punch to the nads, whether it was unsportsmanlike conduct, whatever. There was a penalty called, it was 15 yards, whatever. I'll take it, right? They called the wrong penalty on the wrong guy, but it's the same down distance. I'll live with it. They didn't get the one where Roquan Smith was trying to fold him like a pretzel.
Yep.
But then we didn't have the penalty called on us for the block in the back that would have negated the greatest defensive play in the history of the sport. So, or at least our stadium. It levels out, man. It really does. You know, if you really want to go through and put all 22 of them under a microscope, I'll find a penalty every single play. Call the egregious ones.
What really happened on that play where we were hitting Huntley and the ball projected forward?
Yeah.
And they did not call it an incomplete pass. They called it a fumble. And
So
the Ravens recovered it.
I have no problem with that because that's the same thing we always used to say is, please let it play through. We can always bring it back.
Yeah.
Why didn't, even though it would have pissed me off, why didn't the Ravens get a first down on that?
They called it an incomplete pass.
Oh, I thought they kept it a fumble.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
They went back and changed it.
Okay.
They went back and changed it. And here's the deal. Because this is where I'm going to say I'm glad they made that call, because if the Bengals would have picked it up and ran it back, yay. But here's the thing. If that ball would have come out, right, and I'm 500 feet in the air, I can't see exactly how the ball came out of his hand. I would have been livid if Jermaine Pratt picks up that ball and is running down the sideline and they're blowing a whistle saying, no, come back. Dude, let it play out. We can bring it back later. So as much as people want to complain about officiating, good job letting it play out. Good job bringing it back. Good call. I mean, they did that correctly.
I think the Bengals did some officiating on that play because no Bengal was going after that ball.
That was the first thought in my mind. I was literally sitting there. I was like, my dad is probably screaming, pick up the ball. Why are you guys saying? You don't decide if it's a foul ball. Run down the line.
Right.
It's not your job.
New York called the refs like, you guys are idiots. Seriously. And before they were going to review the challenge, they're like, after discussion, incomplete pass.
And did you notice that the referee left his microphone on and started yelling at either Zach or somebody at the Bengal bench? Yes. And then the other referee said, hey, your mic's on.
Well, no, guys, speaking of Zach, first of all, I want to give a shout out to Zach continuing the game ball tradition, to taking it to the blind pig. That is just awesome. But I remember reading somewhere, Zach was just ticked off at the refs for not protecting his players once again and all that. Like, I think this is the second week in a row we've seen Zach irritated. It's like, what the hell's going on here? You guys, like, there's all these cheap shots going on. You guys aren't doing anything.
Against the same team, too.
Yes, the same team also.
I'm just glad that Jamar said that shit about there's always get back, but there really wasn't anything that I saw. I'll take that back. The get back is when you got guys like Logan Wilson going, here's my free shot at a center, you piece of shit. And just that's your get back. You do it within the confines of legal play. What are we going to do at the offensive line? What's your fix? Stay the course. People are going to hate hearing that. I'm not sure how many guys are going to miss next week. I really don't. Jonah played through the dislocated kneecap last time. So
right. Yes, he did.
They haven't ruled him out. They haven't ruled Kappa out for next week.
Wasn't there a bye week, though?
I don't know.
Because wasn't that the Panthers game?
Maybe. I don't know. I really don't. He didn't miss any time.
Right.
And if he does miss time, maybe it's a week, whatever. But they didn't rule out Kappa today. And Zach Taylor, actually, and you never hear this stuff, and this is kind of what got the rumors going. Taylor gave like details about his rehab today. He said that, I don't know if you guys read the transcripts or anything. He was curling his toes around like, I guess, bath towels on the floor and picking them up with his feet. And if you've got a broken ankle, that ain't happening. If you've got a high ankle sprain, it's difficult to do. That tells me that it's probably a sprain. It's not a tear. It's not structural damage. It's more or less strength and mobility at this point. This is a man that played a half a football on a broken leg. Yeah. If we're down to picking up towels with our toes, he's a lot closer than what people think.
Absolutely.
So maybe you got to piecemeal it together for 1 week. Maybe they're both of them out there for Buffalo. This is kind of the biggest. Every game the rest of the way is the biggest game of the year.
Wednesday
so
will be.
If you can go, you buck up and go.
Santori, how do you think Jackson Carman played for what he had to get thrown into?
He was charged with 1 pressure on 18 pass blocking reps.
That
I haven't really watched too much. I'll say this: the first 2 drives that he was in, and this is weird for me to do, especially during a playoff game and how tight it was. I didn't watch the plays. I specifically just watched Jackson Carman for those first 2 drives. I didn't see a bad play. He looked like I didn't see anything that made me go, wow. He just looked the part, if you will. He did miss a little bit of a blocking assignment where he preset inside, where he thought that he was going to have help with P. Ryan outside. And I think P. Ryan thought he had it because P. Ryan released instead of chipping.
Mm-hmm.
And he thought he had help around his left shoulder, and he didn't. And that's when Burrow got sandwiched between him and Max Sharping's guy.
Right.
That's a communication error, not a skill error. And that's going to happen when you get thrown into your first game in a playoff game against that pass rush unit for the first time in 2 years. For the most part, though, I expected every single play to look like that. He does not have a good reputation here.
No.
Between his allegations from high school, there's not a whole lot of people in Cincinnati that are Bengal fans that like Jackson Carman.
Right.
So it's really, really, really easy to scrutinize him. I thought he looked adequate run blocking. That's kind of always been his strength. I haven't really watched the film yet. I haven't got to dive that deep, but there wasn't anything that stood out to me that was ultra glaring that would make me freak out for next week against Buffalo, who has a second-rate pass rush.
Yeah.
So if he has to be the guy, yeah, there's going to be times where it looks bad. Trust me. It's just he's not that polished. But all things considered, I think most people would agree he did better than we all thought he would.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that he was a left tackle in college?
He played his natural college position for the first time since college, which part of me was kind of like, that might help him out. Instead of trying to force him to be a guard on one side or the other, let him. Now, he's not built to be a guard, much like Jonah Williams isn't built to be a tackle, but sometimes you got to do with what's natural. And
James,
he did do that for 4 years. So,
James, I said to myself, at least he's used to this. He's used to playing when he was in college. I mean, heck, he protected Trevor Lawrence for 3 or 4 years. I mean, like he was at a top-notch school, so he had to he was doing something right there, you know. So that's what I thought to myself. At least he's used to playing that position, is what I said to myself.
The issue with Carman is not athleticism. It's not size. It's not length. It's an issue, and this is something that I've heard not from just one person. The issue is the fact that he doesn't really seem like he gives a shit that he's in the NFL. It's a heart and effort kind of thing. Maybe this is the jump start he needs. I don't know. I would love for him to still turn into something. I don't like giving up on guys. I always say 3 years. Year 2 has offered negative of anything. So, I mean, he's definitely on my you might not make the team list next year.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if he comes in and plays solid for Jonah, you know, I'll always give a roster spot to someone that helps me win. Assuming they're not a terrible human being. That's beyond the point. We'll see. I'm still under the impression that you may have Jonah, may have Kappa. You might have one of them. If you could get both of them, hell yeah. But I don't anticipate that. I would definitely say if you make it to the next round, you know, if you get to the championship game, you'll have both of them. That's kind of what I'm gathering.
Cool.
So if anybody else has any questions, we'd love to answer them. I got no problem just drilling those for 2 hours at a time. But I'm not super. When I say this, I don't mean that I think we're going to be world beaters going and kick Buffalo's ass. It's not going to happen. They're a top flight team. This is the playoffs. Nothing is easy.
No.
Okay? You shouldn't be scared, though.
Yes.
This is it's like every other game. It's 1 week at a time. You actually match up well with them on paper. The teams that win have 3 things. They are confident, they prepare, and they execute. If there's anything that this team does well, it's being prepared and they're confident. Executing sometimes can be hit or miss for a quarter or so. Like we talked about, like, oh, the offense went flat. The offense went flat for about a quarter and a half. They looked pretty darn good up until about halfway through the third quarter, and things started to bog down when their offensive line had to go through musical chairs, which is understandable. But, I mean, the first half, they had a field goal, a touchdown, and then they had, I think, a punt or the fumble. And then in the second half, they went right down the field and scored again. I mean, they only had 5 possessions going halfway into the third quarter, and one of them was a kneel down for a second.
Yeah.
Like you scored on half of your possessions going halfway into the third quarter. It was efficient enough. You just had limited possessions. So don't worry about the offense didn't operate right.
Right. Hey, I'm gonna bow out here in just a minute. I'm gonna say one thing that's key to this Buffalo game, and it's key to every game on the road.
Score more points than the other team.
No, you gotta be able to take
what do you mean
the first punch, and you gotta weather that storm that happens early in the game. That is a key. Now we've been able to win by getting ambushed like we did against Kansas City. You can't keep doing that. But I think if they can hang in there and play pretty well the first quarter, typically that bodes well for the road team.
Yeah. If you're within 10 at the half, I'll take my chances.
Yeah.
Now I'll say this though.
Lou's going to change something.
Well, but here's the deal. Buffalo's the same way. I've seen them struggle early, and I have seen them absolutely explode on teams in the second half. Mm-hmm. So, I know we kind of joke and say I'm within 10, I'll be fine. You might want to be within a field goal on this game. You might want to have the lead at halftime because these guys they're for real. But here's the thing, and I've been saying it for a few weeks now, and I think people are starting to see it just because, you say things and not everybody watches every single game. Buffalo's not on TV every week, but now they are because there's only 8 teams left and everybody's under a microscope. If Josh Allen isn't the human turnover machine, I don't know who is.
Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
And Trevor Lawrence.
But, I mean, my God. I mean, he led the NFL in turnovers this year, and he's had a ton of fumbles that he was able to get back or just went out of bounds.
Right.
The guy's a freak athlete and a tremendous quarterback, but woo! He's
going to give you an opportunity.
That might just be
he's going to make big splash plays, but he's going to give you an opportunity.
It would not surprise me if the Bengals had 3 takeaways against Buffalo.
Dak Prescott only played 12 games, but he still led the league in interceptions. So that's why he didn't lead in.
Right. Oh, Haas wants to know if I think Carmen's going to start versus Buffalo if Williams can't go. As of right now, I would assume that is the direction they're going.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because that's the direction that they planned for against Baltimore. And it might be fine.
All right, guys, I'm going to bow out because I know you're answering questions.
Yep.
Hooday, and we'll talk Wednesday.
All right, brother.
All right.
Bye, Dad. All right, never mind. Josh Allen will panic if he needs to play. Yeah, 100%. He's one of those guys that I think is going to struggle with the Bengals defense because the Bengals defense makes you be impeccably patient, and he's not that. I don't know how many times I've seen it where it's like, okay, they're going to go 4 plays, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to scramble and throw an 80-yard bomb for no reason, and it's in triple coverage, and it gets picked. And it's like, all right, well, you didn't need to do that.
Well, good punt. No.
Right. He'll do that, though. Or, and I'm going to talk a lot of shit about Josh Allen this week just because it's Josh Allen week. First and foremost, I have a ton of respect for him. He's a great quarterback, and if Joe wasn't my quarterback, he would be on the list.
Yeah.
But it's Bills week, so I'm going to have some fun with it.
Let me pose a question real quick. Do you think Sean McDermott, obviously he lets Josh Allen do that, but do you think that he does have that mentality of, well, if it gets picked, it's a good punt?
Depends on the situation.
Because he throws it 9,000 yards.
Right.
Right. It depends on the situation. Like yesterday, we were watching the Miami game, and they were kind of back. Miami was backed up, and Skylar Thompson tried to fit one down the left sideline. It got picked, and I was like, well, it was kind of like a 35-yard punt. Like, it's not the longest punt ever, but when you're I think their punter was averaging a net of 44. It's like, yeah, it's a decent punt with a bad penalty at the end. It's still 35 or 40 yards further downfield.
Yeah.
And I don't like punting from my own 3. So it's like, all right. Sometimes I can live with it. It depends on the situation. When I can remember as a kid, there would be times where we were at midfield. You had no chance for a field goal. I really didn't want to punt, and it would be like 3rd and 30 because we fucked something up. And I'd be like, just throw up a prayer. If it gets picked, they're down at the 10. Like, if not, then I'll punt on the next play. I'm not anticipating making a first down right now. Yeah, I'm not reading that one, Rick. Sorry.
Yeah, I read that one. I like it, but it's funny.
Hey, Mason, come read this.
No. No, oh goodness. No. But we're gonna have a show Wednesday, 7:00. You're gonna talk with Glenn, is that right?
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna do a pre-recorded interview, probably just 5-10 minutes, whatever.
Selfish.
What's that?
Selfish.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's working nights, so
I'm kidding. I know.
No, I messaged. Yeah. He has a tight schedule.
yeah, he said if we can do it before 5, and I'm like, well, I'm off. We can just jump on here and I can record something for 5 minutes and I'll pump it up.
Right. Oh,
like,
yeah.
Hey, and then we've heard from Glenn Goodberry, like the news, and you roll the package.
Right.
We should do it like the news, where Glenn just records himself walking down the street. Here in Buffalo, the Cincinnati Bengals will be good. He's wearing a suit, walking down the street now. But we'll have Glenn Goodberry on, Goodberry Variant, if you're not familiar, on Twitter. Great follow. But
Unbelievable follow.
He's a Bills fan, so we don't like him this week.
No, he's going with Bengals fans.
No, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
For those of you that know Joe Goodberry, it's his brother.
Yep.
So odd situation they're in. Never thought they'd be there in the playoffs together.
And Glenn is always he will always give props if it's warranted.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, Glenn's
Doesn't matter.
Dude.
He's a straight. Glenn's a straight.
We'll talk with him for 5-10 minutes. I'm not sure what time we're doing that Wednesday. So if you guys want to jump on, as long as, I know James doesn't work. So Wednesdays aren't busy for him at all.
Right.
What time are you on with him Wednesday?
I'm not sure yet. I'm off all day, and I know you work early, so I mean it might just be the two of us. But we'll just iron out 5, 10, 15 minutes of the day, whatever. We'll pump that up, and we'll continue on. We'll give him a Lutherism.
All right,
We'll make sure that's pre-recorded.
Ooh.
We'll do, buddy.
Like a Thurman Thomas or a
Thurman Thomas or
like that.
let me think.
Thermos Thomas. Lutherism.
All right, there you go then.
Thermos.
It's a thermos of tomato soup.
Do that fluty flakes.
Fluty flakes.
Right. Hey, thanks, Crip. We appreciate it, buddy.
Appreciate it, bud.
Yep. I'm thinking we're getting ready to end, but I didn't get to see my daughter all weekend. So
that's what happens when you don't see your kids.
Well, her and my wife, they went down to her side of the family to pick up the dog. And we went up to my side.
Oh, yeah, you guys got that little
we got the puppy. We got the Chihuahua.
The Chihuahua.
Oh yeah, it's adorable. Here, I'll pull up one picture real quick. Let's see.
That's awesome.
Her name is Mira.
Looks like a dog.
Yep.
So, well, fellas, good show.
Thank you so much.
Are you guys going to stay on for a few minutes, or?
I just want to share one thing because this legend deserves his time.
Oh.
This guy right here. Just smoking his stogie after the game.
I saw him on Twitter. He said he was just all in his own space, in his fields, just smoking the stogie.
He was smoking something. Look at that face. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big old fat cigar.
Well, that wasn't the first thing he smoked.
Yeah.
He's been hammered.
Oh, my God. Look at this guy. Fucking love him.
That's something.
If there is one man to embody the human spirit of the Cincinnati Bengals franchise right now, it is him.
More good football knowledge than most shows I've had the displeasure to watch. Thank you, Rick. Rick the Rock, as Stella calls you.
Hey, Rick, thank you so much, man.
Absolutely.
I could watch this guy smoke his cigar all day. Well, the other thing I want to share, because it's my favorite thing on the planet. I'm going to have to search it here, so ignore my search history. Did you guys hear the Telemundo call for Sam Hubbard?
No, I scrolled past it because I didn't want to.
Oh, my God. It's the greatest thing you'll ever hear in your life.
All right, let's hear it.
I'll play like the first 2 seconds, and then give me a thumbs up if you can hear it.
Contra un Gus Edwards que pesa 240 libras.
Tercera y gol. El balón está suelto. ¡Qué increíble! Sam Hubbard se lo va a llevar. Llega a la 40. Ya rebasa la frontera. Vamos a ver si lo alcanza. Edwards. Adiós. Adiós toda la ruta. Touchdown. ¡Qué manera de cambiar el partido! Increíble lo que acaba de suceder.
The look on Harbaugh's
Contra un Gus
face.
Edwards que pesa 240 libras.
It's beautiful.
That's
The look
awesome.
on Harbaugh's face was even better.
Did
Yeah.
you see Harbaugh's wonderful little interview where he gave that reporter so much shit on the sideline?
No.
He's a jerk.
Oh my God, he was so mean.
Jerk, jerk, jerk.
Oh, I gotta find it. Hold on.
Brother, didn't his brother just announce he's staying in Michigan? Yeah.
All right. So this is just nasty. All right, like he's such a jerk. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Think about that last penalty.
Well, I didn't like the last penalty.
And so what will you tell your guys
We'll
defensively?
be fine. Our guys will be fine. It's going to be a hard-fought game out here. We're going to play a good game.
And Tyler Huntley with that interception, you said we might see Anthony Brown. What will that take?
We'll just see how the game goes, okay? Thanks.
Thanks, John.
What a jerk.
Douchebag. I'm so glad he lost. All right.
What's the gap yet?
I'm gonna go spend time with my family.
Yeah, me too.
Take care, guys.
All right, fellas. Y'all have a good